Hello, thank you for tuning into my channel. I have a finished project today, so if you want to hear about finishing up the Dresden plate quilt, please stay tuned. Of the Dresden plate quilt, it's actually 12 blocks. It's 3 across by 4 down, and I just wanted to kind of show it up close. I will link each of the videos related to this quilt. It started out with the Dresden plate that's here. This is the decorative section of the quilt, the color section, and then I backed it with these gray fabrics, and it has a like a blanket stitch along the outside to hold it down, and then I used raw edge applique to put down the black circles here, and all of the blocks have this. And then to create the big block, I actually turned the block on point, and I do have a video about each stage of this quilt. And so the blocks are on point, and I used black in the center to sash the quilt, and then on the binding as well to really bring it all together. I'm going to lay it out on the floor so that you can see each section. And for quilting, I actually used one of Angela Walters' free motion quilting along kind of challenges to quilt each block, so each block looks a little bit different. What I think I'm going to do is take a picture of each block and then label each individual section, like the type of quilting. But before I do that, I'm going to lay this out on the floor in the living room so we can get a look at the entire quilt. Here is the entire quilt. I'm going to lift the camera. Hopefully you can see that. I really am pleased with the way it turned out. It's huge. Like, I don't even know how long. I did measure it, but I don't remember. And I love the way that the black frames out every single part of the quilt, every single block. And then that black binding kind of brings it all together. Now, to put it all together, I made I pieced a scrap backing, so I'm going to turn the quilt over and we'll talk about that for a minute. This is a nice big look of the backing of the quilt. I did make a video about it. I used a combination of these larger pieces, like the green and this big white and light blue piece, and a piece of damask that I had, and then the other green pieces. And I made some strip rows out of the rest of the parts of the quilt. I wanted to make sure that The larger pieces were near the top and bottom of the quilt, where I knew I would have to do some cutting off. But of course, if you're making a scrappy backing and you're just using whatever you have, it might not necessarily work out that way. But I'm really happy overall with the way it turned out. I was concerned, but I'm really happy with it now. And I'm going to try and get closer to it. I like that even though I quilted the blocks all differently, you can see that the quilting is the texture is very uniform. It really turned out good, even though that was my first time really doing those, that much quilting and that many different patterns. So I'm really happy with it. The only parts that I did not quilt were the inside of the circle. You can see that right there, because since it had the fusible on the back, it was pretty thick, so I didn't try to get through that. One cool thing though was that I did my label. That's in one of the in one of these. Let me see if I can zoom it. There we go. And my husband named it A Cut Above, and so since it was a lot of different cutting pieces, that's what he called it, A Cut Above. And this is going to be a gift for my nephew. Very cool. I'm really happy with the way the quilt turned out. If you have any questions about either the Dresden plate or the piece backing, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching and for your support of my channel. Please thumbs up this video and subscribe and share it with your friends. And I will see you next time. Bye!